This is D with Divine L. Um, I released a video that I set to private today that I did yesterday, and another reading that I did today because a reading I did this morning over on Divine Needle prompted me to dig a little deeper. And you're welcome to go look at that video I did this morning over on Divine Needle. It was the collective reading talking about digging deeper into some information. And so I did. Because what they told me yesterday was about a ship coming in. And so this morning's reading was prompting me to go dig deeper. So I did. I did that reading about the timing. And it's like, okay, it's already here. And the reading that I released was showing basically the one I did from yesterday that I released. That first one that went up today or premiered today. It showed that it would be in the darkness. And then the reading I did on the timing, not only did the Knight of Cups show up in the reading I did on the timing, but the Knight of Cups was also in the reading prior, meaning, and to me I take that as meaning flying in over water, and I even mentioned that during that timing video about the timing of when was this mothership going to show up. Anyway, so I started doing some digging about UFOs being spotted. And the fact that it gave me the location of Yellowstone and Devil's Tower, and that it could be spotted over water, gave me a clue of what to look for. So that's what I was looking for, and I found it. And I'm going to kind of step through this with you all and show you what I found. The good, the bad, and the ugly about it. And some other things I wanted to share with you. Anyway, so I'm going to go over to my desktop and show you a couple of things. So the first thing here that you're going to see is a video, Weird Lights Over Washington, May 4th, 2021, the night of, last night. So this guy here starts describing several people on Twitter spotting this thing in the sky. And I'll leave links in the description, but several people spotted this and have posted on it, basically. And he's talking about this. He was out for a walk and saw it himself, and he took a picture. He's not the only one. He's in Washington State. There's another one in Oregon that could see it, which those two states are right next to each other. Here's the video, UFO sighting, question mark, SkyTrain 54, Oregon skyline, headed, now this is interesting, 111, 111 degrees southeast over Happy Valley. And I'll include a link for this one too. But when you watch this thing, just watch it.
Looks like a train in the sky. Sky train.
Now, in here, I can clearly see a bigger outline around the lighted center portion here. And this looks reminiscently a lot like what was on, you know, they pointed us at Devil's Tower and at that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And remember how that ship looked. It had the square lights, the square lit up things that, you know, they were using to speak back and forth using sound. And you can see there's definitely more than just the area where the lighted up part is. But just watch this.
So weird. What is that? Right there. Just moving. Did anyone else see the sky train last night?
Now you can actually see a plane blinking up here. This denotes just how close in this object is. It's not in orbit. You can tell by looking at it. You can tell by the plane in the sky next to it. So I'm really glad that plane showed up as a point of reference. But just watch this. See the plane up here?
That's very interesting.
The plane's higher than this object is.
Through the night. Sky train.
You can tell by looking at it.
Wanna go for a ride?
It goes behind the tree
Sky train.
and it tilts. It starts tilting. Okay. So there's at least 2, when I looked this up on YouTube, of this being spotted from Washington and Oregon. So, and they told me it would be coming in over water using that Knight of Cups, flying over water. They told me it would be in that vicinity, Yellowstone, etc. So they could see it coming over Washington State and Oregon. Now here's the kicker. I went over to the news. And of course, we all know about the news, the fake news. The mainstream media is the fake news. And they're trying to head off things at the pass. Well, I'll let you guys be the judge. You guys observe those videos. That is not satellite orbit level. Not even close. Now here's the thing. You look at these posts. Did you see a string of pearls in Seattle's night sky? Those were SpaceX satellites. 5 hours ago, they post that. 12 hours ago, they start posting about Starlink satellite internet service gets 500,000 pre-orders. Now, I looked at these articles, and I'm looking at, this is the one with NASA rules must says SpaceX wins $2.9 million moonlander contract. Is that the one I want to see? It may not be. Maybe this one. No, it's not. It's this one. All right. Now in this article, because I want you guys to know the whole thing and make a judgment call for yourself. This may not be what I was looking for. Here we go. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission last month approved SpaceX's plan to deploy some Starlink satellites at a lower Earth orbit than planned, but included a number of conditions to ensure the plan's safety. Here's the thing, though. Lower Earth orbit. What we saw in that video was below an airplane. That is not lower Earth orbit. That's still inside the lower atmosphere. That is if those were indeed satellites, they'd be coming to the ground already. They were lower than the plane. And why would they all be linked and travel together? You have to ask yourself. So the news is already coming out with their story about what this is in the sky. Now, it's true. If you look at SpaceX's thing, they talk about a recent launch, the Starlink mission, on their website about shooting these up into orbit. But what we saw in that video was not in orbit. That was inside the National Airways. The altitude, I don't know. Lower than the plane. It was obvious in the video to me that that was lower than the plane that was flying by. So it is either pure dumb luck or excellent job on the divine making sure that plane got in that footage, because it really gives you a look at just how low that was. That's not an orbiting satellite. We've all seen them. You go out and sit out under the stars, you can see those satellites streak by. Little itty tiny pinprick dots going by. And satellites that low would not be able to stay stabilized in orbit. No way, no how. And they wouldn't all be linked together like that because they wouldn't work very well, would they? Because they're going to travel around the planet and only have a signal for a short time over the area that they're in. So what they're saying in the news smacks of BS to me. 100% BS. It just sounds like BS. 100%. So they come out with these news things a few hours after this thing gets spotted, okay? So that's their preemptive, oh, it's just satellites. Yeah, well, you guys saw the video. I'll put the links in the description. Look for yourself. Use your own intelligence and your own gut instinct to decide what that was. Because based on my reading, they told me there was an incoming mothership. And that looks oddly like Steven Spielberg's mothership in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I would 100% go, I was wrong if I'm wrong. But based on what the cards are telling me, that's no satellite or string of satellites. Doesn't even make sense that that's a string of satellites, because the communication would only be good for a very short time as it flew over. If it was that low in the sky, think about it. It doesn't make any sense. So the mainstream is doing a bang-up job at trying to cover up what happened last night. Came in from over the water. Now get this. You look at this article. Did you see that string of pearls in Seattle's night sky? Okay. And then they're showing the launch of the SpaceX satellites, because they were indeed launched yesterday. Well, supposedly. I don't know. This could be, they can put fake stories up so fast and they can change the dates on them and all kinds of crazy stuff. But they actually play it here.
In the future, we are going to have to find new sources of energy.
But they'll actually show it here in a minute. Anyway, 60 Starlink satellites were launched from Kennedy Space Center earlier in the day. And see, they're showing it here. So this is somebody else's footage of the exact same thing. That is not Earth orbit level. Not even close. That is large, first of all. Very large. Just think about it. Look at the altitude. It's not way up there like the other satellites are. And they did say it was going to be lower Earth orbit, but that ain't orbit. That's in the same realm that our jets and regular airplanes and helicopters fly in. The cards pointed me at this happening. Now listen to this. 60 Starlink satellites were launched from Kennedy Space Center on Tuesday afternoon. On their 7th orbit of the Earth, they passed southeast over Seattle and central Idaho. Remember, my reading was pointing out Yellowstone and pointing out Devil's Tower. Which, guess what? At the way it was tracking, would be headed exactly where my reading was talking about. Headed right towards Devil's Tower. So it passed over Seattle, Washington. People in Oregon saw it. And you look at the trajectory right here on this map. And it's heading right in that vicinity of Devil's Tower. Exactly what my reading was talking about. So my reading picked up on this event. Now, was it satellites or was it a Annunaki mothership? You guys have to answer that question. I guess we're going to find out. But right now, the mainstream's trying to say it's satellites. And you know, and I know, that that's a load of BS. That's 100% BS. You saw the altitude on that thing. There's no way. And if you reason it out for yourself, satellites, the way they operate, is because there's a whole bunch of them way high in the sky so that there's coverage all the time. A whole rope string of satellites together doesn't make sense. And not at that altitude. Because the coverage would be really, really crappy, wouldn't it? Because you'd only get a link for, 5 minutes if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky. But yeah, look at the trajectory that they're showing that this thing traveled. See the orange line right here? Boom! Yep. There's the Black Hills right there. Yeah. So, my cards were telling the truth. They said exactly what was going to happen. Coming in from out over the water. So I knew exactly what to look for. I was like, okay, if it's coming in from the Pacific Ocean area, it's going to be Washington, Oregon. And sure enough, bam, that's exactly the first 2 videos I found today when I looked for UFO sightings in the last 24 hours. Because they told me they were already here. It's already here. They're already here. Now we just have to suss out, was it indeed some sort of satellite system that they were trying to tell me about in the cards? They've been pointing me at the sky, right? Here's Devil's Tower. Okay? Devil's Tower right here. National Monument. Scrolling out. See where it's at? Right there. Right where the trajectory of that orange line is. See? Exactly as my cards said. I don't lie, and neither do those cards. And you have to think about this. Everything that's happened is predestined. I'm supposed to be putting this out. It's my destiny. Me feeling so driven. You know how I talked about the storm chasers, chasing those storms and being so dedicated that they died doing what they love. That's what I'm doing. I'm dedicated to this. It's always been about the sword, the Ace of Swords, Sword of Destiny, truth and clarity. What's your truth? What do you think this is? I'm not buying the satellite bullshit. Not even for a second. It doesn't add up. Were the cards trying to point me at satellites in low Earth orbit? That was below low Earth orbit. That was below, well below low Earth orbit. That was inside atmosphere. Those things, there's no way they could stay up if they were indeed satellites. You gotta learn where to smell the horse shit. And I smell a lot of horse shit. But they told me about this before it happened. They told me it would be coming in over water. They told me it would be at night. It was even in the Sabian symbol mysteries. How is that possible? Seriously, how is that possible? You have to ask yourself. The other thing I wanted to show you is this. I told you guys a long time ago. I don't know which video you'd have to go through them. I told you a long time ago, two sides, two opposing sides that wanted the same thing teamed up to imprison you. Because they both wanted to control Earth. Both sides. And so they don't like each other. Nope, they don't. But they had a common agenda. A common agenda, imprisoning the humans. You were sold out by a president. He made a soul contract in your behalf because we have birth certificates that make us cattle, or you all cattle to them. They own you. So they make soul contracts in your behalf. I'm not kidding. I wasn't kidding when I told you that a long time ago in my streams. I don't lie. Never have, never will. Could I be wrong about things? Yes, and I've always said that. And I would admit it in a heartbeat if I ever am. But let me tell you something. I'm not wrong about this. Remote viewers, remote viewed presidential meetings with ETs. Now, I've told you about the Igigi and who they are. I told you they are Pleiadian, some of them. Here's the thing. Not all Pleiadians are bad. There's some that are totally against what they're doing, and they're working on our team. That's right. They are working with the Anunnaki. I'll provide a link. It requires a $10 a month, $9.99 a month subscription. And I'm not connected to these guys. I don't make any money from these guys. They're not aware I'm even doing this. They're aware of me, though. I can tell you that. They know who I am. Farsight Press. Several remote viewers. Blind. Remote viewed these meetings with the extraterrestrials and that president that sold you out. Hook, line, and barrel. Everything. Don't believe that people aren't being abducted by ETs to be used for experiments and all kinds of disgusting things. All you have to do is listen to the remote viewers. They're quite talented. The reptilians and the Pleiadians, the Anunnaki left the area. They had other things to do. Because this isn't the only thing they created. They created everything you see. Okay? Including the fact that this is basically an inversion. It's hard to explain. I don't even understand all of it fully. But in this, they talk about the remote viewers seeing the greed of the reptilians and the Pleiadians wanting to control this place. Consider them the demigods. They're not the gods. Pay particular attention if you do subscribe and actually watch this to Courtney Brown's son. And he talks about this president and he goes, his people are nowhere near, because he's right. Back then, when this president made this deal, the Anunnaki were nowhere to be found because they were a long ways away at the time. But you'll hear him talk about that. Well, his people are nowhere around. I don't know where they're at. But these Pleiadians and these reptilians are all making a deal with this president. But his people are nowhere around. That's because the Anunnaki who created all of them weren't here at the time. I told you a long time ago, two sides teamed up to imprison you guys. And that's exactly what happened. Because they both wanted to control this place. And this president sold you out. And they can randomly take anybody they want to. And another thing that I told you guys a long time ago, that most of you have been abducted and don't even know it. Because they can mind wipe you with ease. And they can take you right out of a building full of thousands of people sleeping right next to you, and nobody's going to be none the wiser. Because if they can abduct you and pull you right through a frickin' wall, bank that they're going to make damn sure nobody else that's in that building or in that bed next to you even knows it. If they can mind wipe you, they can certainly keep them asleep while they have you out doing whatever. So these people that come forward saying that they're being used for space programs and all kinds of crap, some of them might be just bullshit artists, but some of them are telling the truth. Anyway, the readings I released spoke about these ships, or this ship, a mothership. Even told me about the trajectory of where this would be seen and when. Interesting. 111 degrees southeast over Happy Valley. 111. It's all about the numbers. And my team would make sure it's all about the numbers. Headed 111 degrees southeast over Happy Valley. I guarantee you, this person that did the video, divinely guided and inspired as well. Nothing's a coincidence. Remember, this is the holodeck. It's all a program. You have to chuckle at that stuff, seriously. But do take it seriously at the same time, because this is going on. It is actually happening. You all are souls having a human experience, incarnating here. And you've been imprisoned. I've always talked about the virus, how they're trying to keep you from waking up. Well, Disney talked about that. The kingdom is asleep. Sleeping Beauty is asleep. But when she wakes up, so does the kingdom. Something else that's interesting, they just released the human news and the ET news recently again. The human news you can see at Farsight Press on YouTube. The ET news you can only get with the subscription, this one. But the the human news, I have not had a chance to look at either one of these. They've both been released. It'll be interesting to see if the remote viewers picked up on what I did. So you can bet that's what I'm going to be doing after I get some sleep. Because the divine has decided the number 555 is very important. I hope you've been watching those collective readings I've been doing. And not just these special side readings. Because they're talking to me. Somebody asked, is my Gabriel the same Gabriel that others are talking about? Or first of all, whatever they're talking about, I don't know if that's connected to what I'm talking about. Because as Gabriel tells me, there's the great pretenders, the demigods that are pretending to be gods. Is their Gabriel my Gabriel? I don't know. Are you willing to risk that? I don't know. You be the judge. But in the end, remember, you're going to be judged. Because that's coming. That is indeed coming. Judgment Day. We are in the age of Aquarius. This is the apocalypse. Where everything that was hidden comes to light. And there's only one person, and it's even written in the book of Revelations. There's only one person that can tell you what's really going to play out. The Holy Spirit. A lot of people are confused about what that is. I've tried to enlighten people, but they're confused, some a good deal. I have a funny feeling, since it is the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, the apocalypse, a lot of people are going to come to know what that really means. Not too far in the distant future, I have a feeling. Today's the 5-5 portal, and the Divine's gone a very long way in impressing upon me about the fives. Right down to a train going by, blaring its whistle 5 times during the reading. And 5 people watching at the time the reading was being done, and 5 likes. One of the people watching actually pointed that out. I missed that fact. When I talked about the fives, they keep showing me, and the 5 times, or the 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 times in a row, 555. My neighbor's acting up, waking me up at 5 a.m., 3 times in a row, 555. Can't make that up. The Divine's operating all around you, and you don't even see it, or many of you don't. Everything around you is speaking to you loudly. You just have to pay attention. Anyway, yeah, you guys got sold out by a president. And there's others that have come forward and said Eisenhower was the one that sold you out. More than one's come on forward and said that. His granddaughter's trying to do damage control. But you listen to those remote viewers, and you listen to what they say his mindset was when he sold you out. As long as his neck and his family's line, their necks, were spared, the ETs could do whatever they wanted with you. And remember this, something else I've told you. Everybody's reincarnating inside their same family lines. The Palladians know that. The reptilians know that. The Igigi? Yeah, they know that. So they're protected. Well, not anymore. Because of that, indeed, was an Annunaki mothership that came in. She came in gracefully and without a fight. Because they're not stupid enough to mess with that ship. Trust. And if they were, yeah, they wouldn't exist very long. Anyway, remember, the books and everything have been tampered with about who won what. Everything's been tampered with. Because remember, when the cat's away, the mice will play. And I believe that's what's happened here. Something else I wanted to point out real quick. The 13th of May 13 is the number of the goddess. That's not very far from now, is it? Today's the 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Ascension Day is the 13th. Look at that. Ascension Day, the 13th. I wonder if that is something to do with this mothership, or what I believe is a mothership. My cards say it is. 111 degrees. Can't make that up. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you and explain those readings I released. And I don't know. Hopefully bring some enlightenment. But that plane flying in the sky higher than this thing is, and you can definitely see that there's something more, a hard outline there. It's not just a string of satellites. That's one hard object right there. You can see a dark outline all the way around that. Annunaki Mothership. At least that's what the cards say. Oh, I was going to switch. Hold on a minute here. Let's get down to this. There we go. Those news articles about that being a satellite. We're going to take a look at the cards right here, right now. See, coming in over the water. This was the cards from earlier. Annunaki Mothership. This is how they told me that they're already here. Already here, Mothership. Lotus Throne. Coming in over the water. From where? Where's this card? To the west. And where I'm facing right now, I'm facing north. Right this minute. And this card's to my west. Can't make that crap up. They're telling me everything in detail with these cards. May 0. They're here. Mothership. All right, now we're going to look at something else now that you've gotten to see that. And I uploaded another video I have not released, which involves these cards. So I'm going to show you right now those same cards. So you can see, I'm going to flip them over so they stay in order until I get ready to shuffle and give you some more. Unseen power rising. Sword of Destiny. One of my favorite cards right there. Sacred Cinnabar. And Sacred Fire. Empress. The cards always tell a story. Stronghold of the Flame. The Burden One. The Politic is the Dark Horse. And the Magician. Shining Flame. Shining Quarry. The Memory Keeper. The Reaper. Death card. The Joyous One. And the Moon. The Necromancer. Ramirez Well. Wish granted. They do tell a story. Yep. Nightmares for the community, the kindred. The Wheel of Life, the program, the holodeck, the planetary alignments, the clockworks. All right, now we're going to hold these cards up, and we're going to do a reading right here, right now, about that news article about those being satellites. I'm going to take, how many cards should I take? They told me 3 cards. We're going to do 3 cards or whatever they happen to throw out here about that news article about it being satellites. Is it a mothership? Or is it just satellites? Whatever it is, whatever that is, I was told about it in the cards. So regardless, I was given a heads up before it happened. So you got to take that into consideration at the very least. Okay. Can you tell us? Tell me about the satellite article. Is the satellite article BS? Tell them about the satellite article. Tell them about the satellite. There you go. Brand new beginnings in truth and clarity and passionate new beginning. The sun's rising. Let's see what else they give us. Told them they can go up to 3 cards on this. It's interesting that those 2 cards came out. They were in that stack together too. And they brought them out together. Okay, there you go. Oh, you gotta love them. Truth and clarity. The divine handing truth and clarity. Something they're very passionate about. The corruptors. This is poisons around. The dance of Kali. And the outlaw gaining a higher wire perspective. That's what they think about that. Satellites. The corruptor. Hmm. So you be the judge. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's what I have to say about it. You guys look at the videos. And those of you that can afford it, even if it's just for a month, to check out the videos over on Farsight. And I'll leave links in the description on all of this. Like I always said, never stop asking why. And never take everything I say as 100% fact. You should always look it up, no matter what anybody tells you. Because I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people running around saying, I've got the truth, I've got the truth, I've got the truth. Who has the truth? Who has the sword? All right. Hope you have a fantastic week. And I'll let you know as soon as they tell me anything else. Because if that's indeed a mothership, then that Ascension Day coming up on the 13th is a really important day. Anyway, remember, it is the holodeck. You have to have some sense of humor about all this. I'm trying to, definitely. I mean, really, you just can't make up the weird synchronicities and crazy stuff that goes on. You just can't. See through the illusion. Remember, the ones who created you, the Anunnaki, not the Pleiadians, not that your bloodlines haven't gotten mixed up in there, but the ones that actually created this place and you. They do love you. Always have, always will. You're a piece of them. You're their children. They're not going to be very happy about what some of their other children have done while the cat's away and the mice will play. No, no, no. Not a good idea. Because those rules that you guys are supposed to be living by, they are too. Judgment Day is coming. Anyway, take care, guys. Talk to you soon.